Well, hey guys, this is Stephen Ray, aka Stingray, and on today's episode of the Stingray Scoop, as you can see, I've got the WWE stuff back there, and I've got the Texas Longhorn stuff. So there's a lot of stuff to break down, so sit back, relax, and enjoy as I get you ready and caught up on all of the news that's happened this week around the world of sports right here only on the Stingray Scoop. Good Friday afternoon, everybody. This is Stephen Ray, and welcome inside another Stingray Scoop. And it's been a little while since I've done a Stingray Scoop here only on the CTS, and I do apologize, but my life has been very hectic, but nonetheless, I'm doing one today, and I'm getting back in the groove of doing one every single Friday. So let's go on ahead and start with some of the biggest news of this week, and we will start with the Longhorns of Texas. Steve Sarkisian is not ready to name a starting quarterback for the Texas Longhorns season opener. Now remember that Sam Ehlinger forewent his senior season to go on to the NFL. So now they are looking towards Casey Thompson or Hudson Card. Those guys have been sharing snaps evenly with the first team offense ahead of next Saturday's season opener against the Louisiana Lafayette Ragin' Cajuns right there in Austin. Now Steve Sarkisian has not named a starter, so I guess there's nothing to share here. Those were Sark's words, not mine. So once again, it's either going to be Casey Thompson or Hudson Card next Saturday when the Longhorns of Texas take the field in Austin against the Louisiana Lafayette Ragin' Cajuns. So a lot of news out of Texas out there that they don't know their starting quarterback, and that is not a good look with the season less than a week away, and they still don't know who's going to be the signal caller for that offense. That's not a good way for Sark to start his tenure there in Austin. Next up, we are going to go to huge news in a couple of years, as in 2024, LSU will face off against USC to start the 2024 season. Now, as you will remember, both of these teams staked claim to the 2003 national championship. Now, this is also going to be the third time that USC and LSU have played. The other two, both teams split games in 1979 and 1984. And one more quick note, this is the first time that LSU will make an appearance in the state of Nevada. So that is going to be an awesome game to look forward to in the 2024 season. And another interesting note about this game is that Coach O, the LSU coach, did coach previously twice at USC. So this is going to be a rather interesting development to the 2024 season, and hopefully that Coach O is still at LSU and will face his old team in USC, because that would be an awesome storyline moving into that season. Next up, the Ohio State Buckeyes have named their replacement for Justin Fields. Justin Fields obviously moves on to the NFL. They have now named CJ Stroud the starting quarterback for Ohio State when they go up against the Minnesota Golden Gophers on the opening weekend of college football. Now, he was also the backup to Justin Fields last year, and he threw 16 of 22 passes last year for 185 yards and 2 touchdowns in the spring game, and then, of course, backed up the always talented JT Daniels last year. He played as a true freshman against Rutgers, Michigan State, and Clemson in the college football playoff semifinals, and had a 48-yard rushing touchdown against Michigan State last year. So once again, CJ Stroud will be making his Ohio State debut as the starter against Minnesota in week 1. Now, some SEC news to get to. JT Daniels is looking to take the Georgia Bulldogs to the next level, and he is definitely one of a big playmakers to try and do that for the Georgia Bulldogs. He also brings California swag to the Georgia offense, which is something they've not had. And, quarterback play has been shaky under Kirby Smart's tenure. So maybe JT Daniels can really pick off of that good season he had last year towards the end of the season. And then, of course, Georgia could potentially have all the pieces it needs to knock off Alabama and Coach Saban if they do eventually meet up in Atlanta. But first, Georgia has to get by Clemson next weekend in Charlotte. Now for some unfortunate news out of the state of Kentucky. Kentucky football players plead not guilty to burglary charges. And so this is going to be an interesting little side note to take note of and follow throughout the season. 6 Kentucky football players charged with first-degree burglary pled not guilty last Friday up there at a court in Lexington, Kentucky. All of those guys face charges of first-degree wanton endangerment for allegedly pointing a gun at one of the victims at an off-campus party earlier this spring. So it is going to be rather interesting to see how well Mark Stoops and the Kentucky football organization handles this news moving forward into the season play. And remind you, Kentucky starts off its season next Saturday, a week from tomorrow, against Central Michigan. Now, the New Orleans Saints are moving on from Drew Brees because, as you will remember, Drew Brees did in fact retire. Now, the New Orleans Saints have officially named Jameis Winston the starting quarterback week 1 against Green Bay. So, Jameis Winston will be the guy who actually beat out Taysom Hill to be the starter to try and replace the legacy quarterback in Drew Brees down there in New Orleans. And this will be the first year in 16 seasons that somebody new is taking the snaps for New Orleans other than Drew Brees. So 16 years he played quarterback at New Orleans, and hopefully for New Orleans fans, Jameis Winston can take over that role and continue to make them a playoff contender and not a pretender. And this is the first time that Jameis Winston has been a starter since his disastrous start and debut in the NFL with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now to some WWE news, and this is going to be a big topic that everybody is talking about. The one and only, the Beast, Brock Lesnar, has put under WWE contract for at least 8 different matches over the next year. Now, of course, he did return at WWE SummerSlam, and it could be the start of a busy stretch for this superstar. So once again, the Beast Brock Lesnar is back. If you are a WWE and a Brock Lesnar fan, you are going to be extremely happy because Brock Lesnar is back with the WWE for at least 8 matches there in the company. Now, the WWE on social media did a milestone, and they are thanking the WWE fans for giving them 25 million, yes, 25 million followers on their Instagram account. So once again, the WWE on Instagram, it now has 25 million followers. So the WWE wants to thank you guys for following them on Instagram and other social media platforms. Now, this past Friday was a huge night for one of my favorite all-time WWE wrestlers. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only CM Punk made his 7-year return to AEW. Now, no, I'm not a fan of AEW. I'm not a fan of wrestling right now. But when I was a wrestling fan, I always loved the best in the world and the voice of the voiceless and pipe bombs. So CM Punk did go to AEW, and that has really pissed off the Fox Corporation. Now, this is not Fox News. This is Fox Broadcasting. They are extremely upset with the WWE for not trying to push harder to try and sign CM Punk. And this is, remember, that SmackDown does air on the Fox network, and Fox is not happy because they did not try to pursue CM Punk harder. So there could be a little bit of muddy water there between the WWE and Fox Broadcasting. So it's going to be real interesting to see how well that turns over in the next few months. Because remember, the SmackDown brand is apparently and officially on Fox, and with them being upset with the WWE, things could go south for that partnership between Fox and the WWE over CM Punk. But let me also say, with his return to AEW after 7 years, not only did he do a lot of pipe bombs, he talked about why he dislikes the WWE. He did a lot of pipe bombs this past weekend right there, as he did in the city of Chicago. And I'm actually going to read you just a little bit. Now, this is the first time that CM Punk actually was in a pro wrestling ring since January of 2014. He was a 5-time WWE champion who left the company after the Royal Rumble in 2014. And the AEW event was there in his hometown of Chicago, Illinois. Everybody chanted his name as his open hit. He walked to the ring and talked about the issues there with the company. And he also said that AEW, this was not going to be a one-off appearance. This would be a continuing thing, as he would be with AEW for a very long time. He also went on to criticize his time in the WWE, describing it as the place that ultimately made him sick in the first place. He declared that he left professional wrestling after the Ring of Honor in 2005 and insinuated that the WWE is not really professional wrestling. So once again, CM Punk, as always, makes waves with his pipe bombs there in AEW. Also, Punk went on to challenge Darby Allin for a match at AEW's All Out pay-per-view, which will take place September the 5th in his hometown of Chicago, Illinois. So once again, CM Punk makes a lot of heavy waves there along the AEW event in his hometown, talking bad about his former employer, Vince McMahon, and the WWE. So, guys, that is going to do it for the Stingray Scoop. I hope that you guys have enjoyed it. I see that I have gone 18 minutes, but we had a lot of stuff to cover. Hopefully, I will be back here doing yet another Stingray Scoop here next week, right here on Friday. But, guys, I want to also remind you that Tuesday night, right here on the CTS, the Bama Standard is going to have a lot of the former 99 linebackers and former Marvin Constant teammates on that show, so it's going to be amazing. You can also check out Mickey James on the latest edition of 3rd and 3. So Mickey James joined us for a live interview on the 3rd and 3 show. It is up on YouTube right now underneath this video, so make sure you tune in for that. And then, of course, we will be right back here for another 3rd and 3 next Wednesday night with another huge guest, and Clemson Tom will be returning to the CTS. So, guys, I hope that y'all have a great rest of your Friday, a great weekend, and as always, God bless. See you right back here next week on another Stingray Scoop episode number 13 next Friday. But don't forget, the Bama Standard coming up live Tuesday night right here on YouTube. Make sure you tune in for all of the Bama stuff that you want to hear. And I forgot the most important part, guys. CTS, feel like a champion.